All right, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here with Rich Gorodesky of Colliers, and we're here to talk about the Philadelphia industrial market. And we just released our third quarter market report. With that, Rich, what are some of the headlines you've seen on this third quarter market report?
Headlines are the growth of the Philiport. They acquired a piece of what used to be part of the Navy Yard, the old Mustin Field. So it's great to see the port expanding. They can only benefit, of course, the port, but those ports need warehouse space inland, and it's going to eventually all come in and be always looking for warehouse space. Demand is a little bit slow right now. We've had a tremendous run for the past 4 or 5 years since COVID, which resulted in, of course, lots of supply. So when you have a lot of supply growth, then you have a plateau.
Port, one of the reasons why people would locate here.
One reason is proximity to the decision maker's home. Who would ever guess that? Everyone wants a short commute. The labor market is tremendous in Philadelphia, always has been. Great public transportation, but we are the largest in importing of produce in the United States. Cocoa beans is a big piece, ideally located between New York and Washington. I-95 running right through the middle of it.
Rich, you work a lot on the I-95 corridor, so there's a ton of Class B product. What effect is that having, all the new development here on the Class B stuff? Is the delta between run rates growing, or is it shrinking?
Initially, it was growing, and now it's shrinking a little bit because of the compression. The Class A is starting to show signs of possibly easing off of that face rent. And at the same time, there's been no Class B new construction.
What's our stats telling us about rental growth and absorption and the kind of the key data that some of these both landlords and tenants are looking at?
Well, vacancy is ticking upward slightly, which is mainly driven by the increase of new construction. We've seen a tremendous growth in rent growth over the past 4 or 5 years. Whenever you see that double-digit rent growth like we've seen, what happens? New construction. So the pendulum starts to swing, and the new construction now is being delivered or has been delivered, and now the pendulum is sort of leveling out, and maybe it's going to swing back a little bit towards the tenant side, possibly in some cases, particularly in the Class A. In the Class B, there hasn't been any new construction on a small level, and that's probably going to stay stable for him.
It seems like it's a little bit of a tale of two stories here with like the small Class B stuff and then the larger supply of large big box buildings. How's that affecting your market?
Well, there's levers that the landlords can pull. First lever is always free rent. The last lever is always reducing the asking rent. Free rent seems to be creeping up. The next lever is TI pack, tenant improvement packages. There's only one more lever to go. Well, one lever is dividing the buildings. We're actually starting to see that. So if you have a 300,000 or 400,000 square foot building, how long can you hold your breath on the water? Well, maybe you don't have to, because you can start dividing it into 100, 150.
Is there a hot size where tenants are looking?
I'd say 50,000 to 150,000 is more of the sweet spot. Unfortunately, most of the Class A buildings that were put up in the past year or two are twice that size. So those are the ones that you may start to see get divided.
What are some of the things that a tenant's doing in negotiating with a landlord right now?
First smart thing they're doing is they're hiring Colliers to represent them. It's actually a very fun time to represent a tenant, especially if you're looking for Class A space, which there are certain choices in the market. If you're a strong credit tenant, it's always fun to lead with your strength. If you are not a strong credit tenant, a weaker tenant still can have a great deal if it's the right size at the right time, at the right landlord. These landlords are under pressure to get these buildings rented, and sometimes they're willing to look the other way if the credit is not spectacular.
So what are some of the outside factors that you're seeing economically that are having an effect on your market?
We've had some hesitancy from the part of tenants in making decisions, and more buyers in making decisions, because it's some of the uncertainty with tariffs. There's been a little bit of the shifting of the winds. If a company can afford to wait, which sometimes they can't, but if they can't afford to wait, they may delay. We think that finishing out this year, we're actually starting to see a little bit more movement, people kind of waking up and moving forward. We are cautiously optimistic for 2026 of being a more productive year. I think the market is sort of adjusting to and understanding what's coming out of Washington, and they're used to it and ready to move forward. So I think 2026 will be a strong year because of that.
You heard it right there from Colliers' premier industrial broker in the Philadelphia area. That's all for now. Stay tuned for our fourth quarter market report, which will be out at the end of the year. Have a great one.
You heard it from the premier market leader. I don't know if that made it very nice.